Hey everyone, Steve from Make Your Own Fun here. Just wanted to post a video of an arcade mode run through of Tekken Tag Tournament on the PS2. You'll see I'm playing this on a CRT and kind of filming the screen, which I did just to give it a bit of a nostalgia factor and because I'm really interested in what CRT gaming is like again. So it's not going to look amazing, but I do think it's pretty fun and some of you might get a kick out of it. This was the first Tekken game that came out for the PS2, and I remember getting this game for Christmas with the console, and it's one of my fondest gaming memories. I was a huge fan of Tekken on the PS1 and fighting games in general, so I knew I wanted this to be my first next-gen game. The opening cinematic here was pretty mind-blowing, and even if this game doesn't really have a story to it, it was cool to see these characters with next-gen graphics in the cinematics for the first time, and even the cover art of Kazuya was like super detailed and he looked pretty hunky. I thought Jin was on the cover for the longest time because he's like the main character of Tekken at this point, starting from Tekken 3, but if you look more closely, it's kind of an older guy, and it's most likely Kazuya because he's again at the end of this cinematic just releasing his devil energy into the world. You'll see that I'm going to use the Namco arcade stick for the PS1 to play this game. Again, it's more of a novelty thing because it's Namco branded as well. Growing up, I actually only used the DualShock 2, I think, for basically every PS2 game. And I never really played Tekken in the arcade, so I don't have a lot of Tekken arcade stick experience. But this is an iconic stick, so I thought, why not? So anyways, I'm just playing through the arcade mode here. I think I'm on medium difficulty or whatever the default mode is. I didn't really check, but as you'll see, I'm still pretty bad at this, but it was a lot of fun. One of my favorite things about Tekken Tag was the roster, which is huge and had like basically every Tekken character up until this point. But I didn't have my save game on this memory card, it's in one of my other cards, so I just had to start off with the basic roster. I chose Jin and Brian to start off with for no particular reason. I liked Jin because he was like Kazuya and he was like a young guy, and before Tekken 4, obviously when he just played completely differently, it was pretty easy to get a hang of. And whenever I played Brian and I just did a bunch of his basic command moves, he was always really strong and just dealt a lot of damage, so I thought that's probably my best bet too, based on the way I play. Okay, first off into stage 1, facing Eddie and Zhao Yu, who are both from Tekken 3. I wished I faced these guys at a later stage because they were just pretty easy and they're fun to play against. But yeah, it's great to be playing this again, it brings back so many memories. Jin with the blue flame pants was pretty sick when I first saw it, and it kind of like let you know that this is the next generation. So the funny thing to me about this game compared to other kind of team games like King of Fighters and the Marvel vs. series is that in those games you have to beat everyone on the team to just win the whole match. But here you just have to like deplete one character's life bar to win the round, and you can tag in and out during the match or during the round to manage their health. So it's like you almost have to beat two people, but if the person doesn't tag out, then you might have just like left a lot of life on the table. But that's where the name obviously Tekken Tag Tournament comes in. But yeah, it's got multiple rounds per match, so I think that's how it balances the length of each round versus the total match length. So next up we have Jun and Beck from Tekken 2. This stage in the snow was actually my favorite one growing up based on just the music. It was pretty early 2000s dark and moody brooding vibe with a lot of bass and like a robotic voice. And yeah, in this one I'm just absolutely killing it with Brian. Again, only stage 2, so probably not that much of an accomplishment. After that, Kunimitsu and Anna. I always liked how the characters you unlocked in Tekken depend on who you beat the game with. So, you know, Kunimitsu and Yoshimitsu, Anna and Nina. So it kind of like really helped build the world and like that there's more to each character and they're part of this greater story. It's also pretty funny that when you win, both characters do their victory poses, but the other one's just like off chilling in the background. And they sometimes are kind of like the same pose and that looks cool, but other times they're just doing separate things entirely. In general, the matchups you face in the arcade mode seem pretty themed and not that random. Like here now we have Michelle and Julia, so mother and daughter, and it's kind of weird in the sense that you end up just fighting two of the same character more or less in the way that they fight. Like, again, I'm no fighting game expert, so someone might be able to point out the differences, but yeah, it's kind of like just facing the same guy palette swapped. But obviously, I lose this match and it ended up being pretty tough for me. I think I'm still getting used to the stick. But I switched my team now to Heihachi and Hwoarang. So I love the way Hwoarang has like pretty fast taekwondo. That was new in Tekken, even though it's obviously like Beck. Hwoarang's new costume here too, in the blue, is again like one of my strongest memories of this game, because with his traditional white taekwondo costume, this like aqua or teal or whatever really kind of stood out. And they get the job done for me. Up next, it's Paul and Gunryu. And now in this stage, you can see how filming CRTs can sometimes look not so great, because I guess I didn't manage the colors well. It just looks really blocky and red, but that's all fine. Fighting Nina and King. I forgot how King's like, Zangief in the way that it's a slow, big wrestler, but if he catches you, you're pretty much done for. And I haven't played in Tekken in such a long time, I'm not sure where I would have stopped King just completely kicking my ass. And I'm sure there's a break somewhere for me, I just don't have the experience to be able to counter it. I kind of wish that they made sure you didn't face one of the characters on your team in the arcade mode. It kind of like ruins it a bit for me, because it's like, why would I be facing myself? But yeah, Heihachi and Yoshimitsu, and Tekken 3 Yoshimitsu, for me, iconic look. That's where it became like the modern, like cool high-tech Yoshimitsu. Now, here's the last stage, the iconic boss of Tekken Tag, Unknown. Playing this as a kid, I was like, what the hell? Like, who is this? Given that there's no story, you're not really expecting to fight her, and you've never seen her before. And the only clue you get as to who she is that if you recognize her fight stance, she seems like a palette swap of Jun Kazama. So basically, it's just like evil Jun. But as it turns out, she's like a Mokujin, Tetsujin copycat character with different movesets. And so you see here, like, she's got the Yoshimitsu moveset with a flaming like energy sword, so that's cool. But eventually I beat her, and you only need to beat her in one round, so that's good. And then after that you finish the arcade mode. Once you beat that, you get kind of a cool compilation of all your wins and how long it took to beat each stage. Obviously I'm a bit rusty, but yeah, it was a pretty fun experience. And you get a really short in-game rendered ending with the same music over and over again for each character. Heihachi's is pretty lame because he's just being smug about kicking ass, but I guess that's like a classic Heihachi thing to do. He's just sitting around. So that was a quick compilation of my arcade mode playthrough of Tekken Tag, and through that I ended up unlocking Kunimitsu, so yay. With 11 more characters left, I guess it's time for me to get to work. Thanks for watching, I'll see you later.